Well, hello everyone out there in U Can Lele Land, the place where you can. Whether you're 4 or 104, this is the place for you to learn some straightforward techniques, chords, and some skills on strumming your ukulele. In this playlist, we're looking at 12 relatively well-known songs from the youngest to the oldest of us, and we're going to do 12 video lessons going through each one at a time. We'll put the lyrics and the chords up over there for each song as we go along, and this time this lesson is on The Bear Went Over the Mountain. It's in the key of C. Join us in a few seconds. We'll put the words and the chords up over there. If you need to tune your uke, you'll find a link down below. If you need to work on the chords for it, you'll find a link down below also. If you want to download the PDFs, you'll find a booklet link down there as well. And if you want to use the old-fashioned manner of a pencil and a pen, well, get out your notebook and take down the notes. Bye from me. Hi there, and welcome to The Bear Went Over the Mountain. You can Lele Land. Yes, you can. If we look at it first as regards how many beats there are per line, I'm going to be surprised if the answer is not 4. The bear went over the 3, 4. The bear went over the 3, 4. The bear went over the 3 and 4 to see what he could see. So it's going along in bunches of 4, like most songs tend to do. If we look at strum pattern number 1, it's just straightforward down strums. The bear went over the mountain. C, C, F, C. What's the starting note? Well, it's actually a C. The bear, the bear, the bear, the bear, the bear. This is a G. No, it's not a C. It's not a G. Let me work on this one. The bear, 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 bear. It's not that one. Bear, it's not that one. Let me have a look at the sheet. It could be an E. The bear. You're right. It's an E note. It's an E note, yeah. The bear went over the mountain would be my first line on downstrums. The bear went over the mountain would be my second line. My third line, the bear went over the mountain. We might come back to that line just on that last F. There is a slight change we could make there. To see what he could see. So if we look at the notes and chords over here, at the end of the third line, where I'm suggesting maybe a D minor chord, where we go C, C, F, D minor. If you play an ordinary F instead of that D minor, it will be absolutely fine. However, if you play an F chord at the end of the line, it might be nice to play the fourth line as G, G, C, C. You just know that by listening to it in your ear. You can still play C, G, C, C. But if you go for the third line, C chord, C chord, F chord, F chord, it might sound nicer to go G chord, G chord, C chord, C chord. Wouldn't get overly hit up about it. I'm going to play it with 2 Fs, and I'm going to play it with 2 Gs, and then 2 Cs, just on downstrums. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. to see what he could see. If we pop in the D minor chord instead, and I'm conscious that's a new one to you, if we pop that in, I think it sounds nicer if we finish with C, G, C, C. Firstly, how do we make that D minor chord? Well, make your F chord. They're related, obviously, if they can kind of go in the place of each other. So if you make your ordinary, standard, two-fingered F chord, and you just take your ring finger and stick it up under your middle finger. In other words, it's on that string. Make your F chord and tuck in your ring finger underneath it. It's quite difficult maybe to see it there clearly on the camera. That's probably as good a description as any. Make your F chord, two fingers, and tuck this one in here. That's a D minor chord. It's a sad chord, a sad kind of sound. Now if we play that verse, and because I'm going from an F to a D minor, it's not a complex change, but it's another chord to put in the bank. Let's have a listen to it with a D minor chord popped in. You can judge then whether you'd go F, F, or would you go F to D minor. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. And because we've gone there, then I think you should go stick with C. To see what he could see. I'll play that through at normal pace. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. And some people actually, if you're going to downstrum it, might just leave that D minor chord hanging. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. Or the timing is kind of up to yourself. So if you go with a pair of Fs, I think your last line should probably start with a G chord. But if you let the D minor chord ring at the end, then stick with the C. The chorus. And all that he could see, and all that he could see. And then you're back playing the same rhythm. Was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. So on single strums, it still sounds lovely to me. You can bring in your new chord, F chord, add in one more finger to D minor. And I think this is the first song we've come across that even though it's a C chord, it hasn't started on a C and it hasn't started on a G. As a general rule, because the notes of a C chord are C, E and G, wherever you're hitting that first chord, in all likelihood it's going to be a C note or an E note or a G note. It's not a rule, but it's pretty likely. And that would be strum pattern number 1. Join us in a few seconds for strum pattern number 2. And so then, on to chord pattern number 2. Down, up, down, up. In fact, it's not even down, up, it's really just down, up. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain and on that D minor, I'd probably just let it ring once. Was all that he could see, and all that he could see, and all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain. Let it ring. Was all that he could see. So it's not even maintaining its down, up all the way through. I really do think you should probably let out that D minor chord and let it ring. And all that, the bear went over the mountain, bear went over the mountain, bear went over the mountain. It doesn't have to follow on 4, 4, 4, 4. It can if you wish to. So last time, down, up, down, up. And this time, I'm not going to let the D minor ring. I'm going to play it as a normal part of the song. And you can figure out for yourself which way you'd like to do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. And all that he could see, and all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. You have to kind of interpret these songs as well in your own personal way. These are just my interpretations. I think the D minor chord suits nicely on that third line, but personally I think it sounds better if you just leave it hanging there and move on with the song in your own time. If you don't put it in and leave it as an F, just make sure you start the last line with a G. I think it sounds better to my ear anyway. You may disagree with me, that's fine. A chord that you think sounds right in a certain place usually is right. If you think it sounds wrong, then to you it's wrong. That is the bear went over the mountain. 2 strumming patterns, down and down up. You can Lele Land, yes you can. Take down the notes, download a PDF, tune your uke, learn your chords, have fun. Entertain the adults, or if you're an adult, entertain the young people. And make up as many verses to the bear went over the mountain as you like. Until the next time, bye from me. You can Lele Land, yes you can.